Have the Chicago Cubs front office gone mad? Listen, this latest rumor has Chicago Cub fans scratching their head and asking this question. We got to talk about it and then some right after this. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Chicago Cubs Central. Remember, guys, this is your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. And listen, I'm your host, Mike Jones. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you guys are enjoying the content I'm doing this off season. I enjoy making it for you. I hope you guys enjoy watching it, viewing it. I hope you guys are getting into the comment section and you're getting active in those comments. Let your verse be heard, guys. This is our channel. We do this together and we talk about all things baseball, but primarily our Chicago Cubs, how they stack up against the competition. Listen, one thing we know for sure, the Chicago Cubs have made abundantly clear through Carter Hawkins, through Bruce Levine. The Chicago Cubs are all about pitching this free agency, this offseason. They're going to do what they can to get more pitching, to get better pitching. So with that being in mind, guys, more rumors have dropped about who the Chicago Cubs could be in on as far as pitching, adding more pitching to the team. One of those names has teams going exactly like I said in the opener, mad. Listen, right here, right now, it was reported earlier on that President Jed Hoyer and GM Carter Hawkins have said in no certain terms that pitching is where their focus will be. And that tracks just logically by an examination of the roster. And reportedly, just as every single existing Cubs rumor or loose free agent connection has been about a pitcher, right? We've talked about Dylan Cease. We've talked about Tatsuya Amai. We've talked about Framber Valdez. We've talked about Ranger Suarez. We've talked about Brandon Woodruff. We talked about Tyler Mahle. Actually, we haven't talked much about Tyler Mahle. I might have to do an episode on that just to see what's out there for that. But today, Bruce Levine jumped on 670 The Score and threw a very new, or rather old, name into the ring. And guys, you might have heard of him before. His name is Max Scherzer. That's right. He said, I'll throw a name out there. Another Boris client. Max Scherzer. He continued, how would that look on a one-year deal for the Chicago Cubs? If you know they're trying to win a pennant or a World Series, does that type of pitcher, even in his present form, and certainly he didn't disappoint in the late playoffs, would that type of pitcher fit well into the plan? Hell no. No. We're trying to go younger, not older. We're trying to get guys that we can build off of and have many years of success with, not younger. Not older. I'm sorry. Max Scherzer is 40 years old, y'all, and just made 26 regular season starts over the last 2 years combined. But he's also a future Hall of Famer. We know that for certain. Who just told Ken Rosenthal that he wants to keep going. This dude wants to keep pitching. He said, I can still do this. The way I see it, I'm healthy. I'm going to be able to go into spring training. I'm going to be able to ramp up. I have a track record of being a durable starter. I know how to navigate a season. I know how to navigate starts. I just feel I'm in a much better position to be able to do that now that I have this thumb issue completely resolved. Listen. He didn't finish the end of the season pretty that good. He did post a 3.60 ERA through the first 11 starts of the year. And then came up big for the Blue Jays in the postseason with a 3.77 ERA and 11 strikeouts and 14 and a third playoff innings pitched. His velocity was also up a full mile per hour over last season. So again, like I said, it's conflicting now because you're looking at this and you're saying to yourself, man, Scherzer is somebody that could potentially offer something. I just don't know if it's with the Cubs, guys. I don't know. He seems to me, Max Scherzer presents to me the opportunity for a team that's very, very close and needs that one push to set them over the top. I feel like if Max Scherzer came to the Cubs, I feel like we would be leaning on him heavy. And I don't think that his body, his health you can lean on him heavy. Not at this point in his career. Back when he was the ace, 5 years 5 years ago, 6 years ago, absolutely. Max Scherzer would be somebody I would say, hell yeah, do it. But what the Chicago Cubs need is somebody that's dependable, somebody that's reliable, and somebody that you know is going to be a certified out-getter. Now, again, he's done this throughout his career, but the guy is turning 40 years old. What do we know, people? Father Time is undefeated. And it would be just the Cubs' luck that we signed him to a one-year deal for like, what, $12 million or something like that. And the guy winds up getting injured and having to rehab. Well, then that puts the Cubs right back in the same spot that they're in right now with Justin Steele. We lost Justin Steele last year. We lose Max Scherzer this year. I just don't think that it's worth the bet to go out and try to sign somebody like Max Scherzer. I do think, like I said, he will sign with a team that is likely to be good and be a playoff team next season. He will pitch in 2026. I just don't think it should be for the Chicago Cubs. I enjoy watching him pitch. I mean, he's masterful. But at the same time, I just do not think that the Chicago Cubs is the team for him. So if you're asking me, I'm saying pass on Scherzer. He's old. Like I said, he's injury prone at times. And like I said, he just doesn't have the same stuff that he used to have. The Chicago Cubs are trying to get younger. We're trying to get young talent, controllable assets that we can build through and have for years to come. Max Scherzer just does not fit that timeline at this stage in his career. But listen, I want to know what you guys think. Would you give Max Scherzer a shot? Would you give him a chance? Comment below. Let me know you guys' thoughts. All right. So moving past that, the breaking news is that MacKenzie Gore could be available. So news out of Washington suggests that Gore could be traded. The Nationals are looking for multiple prospects, pitching depth, and young bats in return. So you guys know what I like to do when we start talking about stuff like this. I like to play make that trade. So we're going to try to build the trade together. But first, let me give you guys some more of stuff about MacKenzie Gore. MacKenzie Gore is 25 years old, left-handed pitcher with strikeout stuff. He has team control for multiple years. He fits the Cubs' long-term plans. These are all the pros for him. Now, the cons, he does have an injury history. He does have command and consistency, and he is a high acquisition cost. These are all the negatives as to why the Chicago Cubs might look to pass on him. Now, again, I look at him and I say to myself that this guy is somebody that the Chicago Cubs clearly wanted to make a trade for last year. They looked at him. They looked at Mitch Keller from Pittsburgh. They looked at both those guys and they said, these are guys that we really want to make a trade for. But the price that they were asking for them was too much. I mean, the Nationals wanted apparently not only Matt Shaw, third baseman Matt Shaw, but they also wanted 3 prospects on top of that from AAA. And that was just something that the Chicago Cubs were not willing to make a deal for, which I understand. I get that's a high cost. But again, the young pitcher, the 25-year-old, is somebody that you know is going to be available probably for the Nationals, who look to once again try to rebuild and try to figure out where they go from here. So the Chicago Cubs could look to add the lefty. It just depends how desperate they are and what deal they're willing to strike with the Nationals. Guys, he was a top he was a top prospect in the MLB coming in, and he's proven throughout his season with the Nationals that he is somebody that the Chicago Cubs absolutely should take a look at. Maybe go back to the table with the Nationals, see if the Nationals have dropped that asking price a little bit, considering, like I said, how he kind of struggled a little bit towards the end of the season. He did, however, look nasty against Chicago Cubs the last time we pitched against them, so there's that too. But again, a trade package for him might look like a top 10 prospect plus the MLB piece, or a multiplayer package headlined by pitching prospects. So these are the things that the Chicago Cubs, the trade offers the Chicago Cubs could potentially put together for a MacKenzie Gore, who you know is going to come and probably be able to deliver here in Chicago. So I need to know from you guys, What is your thought process on MacKenzie Gore? Is that somebody, a piece that you would want to see be a part of the Chicago Cubs? Or is this somebody that you think the Chicago Cubs should pass on? Let me know your thoughts below. Now, again, that asking price is what worries me. I don't worry about the pitcher. I know the pitcher is worth it. As somebody that's that young that has multiple years of team control that is really, really good and can be good for you, I think, why not, right? So, but again, if the asking price is too much, the Chicago Cubs kind of gotta, look at that, especially if you're not going to go out in free agency and sign position players to back these guys up. Now, if you have an Alex Bregman deal on the way, then I mean that makes Matt Shaw very, very, very tradable, and then you can look to do something from there. So that's my thought process on that. Let me know in the comment section if you guys want MacKenzie Gore, if you think the Chicago Cubs trading for MacKenzie Gore makes sense now. Since like I said, it's the off season. We'll just see what happens. We'll see what type of deal they try to net. Now, last but not least, I want to do a fan question section. I want to start doing a fan question section with you guys. So normally, like I said, on the Chi-Town Sports Central Network, we like to do mailbag questions, whether that be from people emailing us or people calling us or whatnot and leaving voicemails. And I like to play the voicemails, or I like to read the messages, the emails. But my guy Steven, who has rocked with me all season long in 2025. I appreciate you, Steven, so much. Like I said, he made a comment on one of my episodes from earlier this week, and I really thought it was justified to bring this to you guys and just have a group-wide conversation about it. So I want you guys to get active in the comments with Steven. He says, "Hey, Big Mike, please allow me to ask you and your audience a question. What's the matter with starting Owen Casey in right field with Moises Ballesteros at DH when the opposition starts a right-hand pitcher? Suzuki can start against left-handed starting pitchers. We need pitching. So does every other MLB team. I don't care about Kyle Tucker. Wish him all the luck and wave goodbye. Dylan Cease and Joe Ryan excite me greatly. That is interesting Marte talk, but not wanting to trade Moises Ballesteros, and Dansby signed a 7-year deal. He has like 3 years left, so it's a doable but expensive, so not probable." Thank you so much, Steven, for commenting on the YouTube channel, man. I appreciate that. So I really want to focus in on the first part of his question. What's the matter with starting Owen Casey in right field with Moises Ballesteros at DH when the opposition starts a right-handed pitcher? And the short-term answer for that is nothing. Nothing. Nothing at all is wrong with it. I do, however, think that we have to think long-term with these guys. So my mindset and what I've been saying here on the channel is that these guys, Moises Ballesteros, Owen Casey, are going to have their struggles. These guys are certified hitters. They're certified bucket getters. We know it because we watched them in AAA, and we know it's going to translate over to the majors. Both hit home runs last year in the majors. But my thought process is, if your timeline says that you're ready now to go for it all, if you're ready now to go up against those Dodgers, then you also need to go get ready now pieces. And I just don't believe that Moises Ballesteros and Owen Casey are ready now pieces that can provide you this type of scoring that you need in the postseason. And that worries me. It worries me that in the regular season, these guys are going to go through slumps and they're going to go through their hardships, just like Matt Shaw did. Now, there were absolutely opportunities where Seiya Suzuki and Dansby Swanson and PCA came through and lifted the team up, when Matt Shaw was struggling or Michael Busch went through his droughts. But at the same time, I look at this team and I say, the difference in the 2025 Chicago Cubs and the reason why they made the postseason, it wasn't because their pitching was great. It wasn't because, like I said, that obviously they have amazing defense. They won the Team Gold Glove Award. My thought process is the Chicago Cubs took 2 months where they were absolutely dominant, and then they played 500 baseball the rest of the way. Whether you want to call it injuries, whether you want to call it guys slumping, whatever the case, check the stats. They had 2 great months of baseball and then literally played just good enough to skate on into the wild card. That's facts. And I look at this team and I say you had two really good months of Kyle Tucker where you look like MVP Kyle Tucker. That's really what positioned you into the postseason, propelled you into the postseason, where you looked untouchable, where you were almost 20 games above 500. That's what propelled you over into the postseason. Now, if you have to replace what you're losing with Kyle Tucker, and I'm just not confident that PCA is ready yet to take that next step into Kyle Tucker's role. I'm not confident that Michael Busch will be able to recreate the 30-plus home runs he hit last year. I'm not confident that Seiya Suzuki will be able to replicate that. Not without another elite bat to put in between the middle of those guys. And for what it's worth, Owen Casey and Moises Ballesteros are not elite bats, not yet. If you want to spend your season hoping that these guys come around, and Steven, you more than anybody has come out and said multiple times, you believe in Matt Shaw, and you say Matt Shaw, you say this about Matt Shaw, that about Matt Shaw, he's the next great Cub, he's going to be with the Cubs for years to come. He's going to be the next great Cubs player, hitter, and all these different things. And from your mouth to God's ears, I hope it's true. I just don't know that we can wait for him to turn that page. And the more he struggles at the major league level hitting, the more Cub fans are going to start getting antsy. Especially when you have an offseason like this where Alex Bregman is available, where Alex Bregman wanted to be a Cub last year. And had you had Kirby Yates, you probably would have been playing the Dodgers in the National League Championship. Yeah, think about stuff like that. Look, I want Owen Casey to get his chance to prove himself. I want Moises Ballesteros to get a chance to prove himself. I do. I really do. Because I do think these guys are going to be great. I just don't know if they're ready yet for the major league level, for the contributions the team is going to ask of them over 160-plus game season. Maybe you do. And maybe you're right. I just don't know that I can vote on that yet. That's my thought process. Let me know you guys' thoughts. Thanks for listening to my TED Talk. No, in all seriousness, so I appreciate you guys so much, man, for tuning in to another episode of Chicago Cubs Central. This is your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. Listen, if you got a question or you got a thought below and you wanted to appear on the show, go ahead, comment below, guys, or you can write me at cubsbaseball1992@gmail.com, or you can leave me a voicemail at 217-816-5498. Listen, that's 217-816-5498. That's right. Leave a voicemail. Let me know your thoughts. I'll play it on the show. We'll talk about it. You can comment below along with everybody else. I appreciate you guys so much. Until next time, go Cubs go. Peace.
Thank you for watching another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, the number one spot for all Chicago Cubs content. Remember to like, share, subscribe for more Cubs content.